In this episode, we will learn more about neurosurgical wellness and how to get a supreme brain. Helping us with this topic is the microdosing thought leader and the founder of Brain Supreme. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you doing?
I'm good, Toby. Thanks, man. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode for a Soulful conversation. I'm looking so much forward to learning from you. But before we go into all of the supreme brain tips that we'll be learning from you, one thing that we do on this podcast is like we go a little bit personal, and that's about going into your life journey a little bit and knowing and getting to find out how you've lived your life so far that led you to where you are at this moment. And that's why I would like to learn from your life journey also so far. When preparing for this conversation, I got to learn so much about you. So I don't know if you would like to share about your story from going from a celebrity yoga teacher to an author and then to starting your microdosing brand.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to do it kind of quickly. Okay,
Yeah.
So, my Netflix joke is failed novelist turned drug dealer. It's not really true, but I played college football in the Big Ten, American football. So I was a linebacker in the Big Ten. So schools like Michigan, Ohio State, your international audience might have heard of some of them, but very, very high level American football. I was very injured coming out of that. And I was 24 years old. It was 1994. My back was going out all the time. I was living in New York City, so lower back issues. And I'm like, what's going to happen when I'm 44? I walked into a yoga studio before the yoga craze, and I took to it. I loved it. Kind of all the things that made me an average college football player. By the highest athlete standards, I was a little bit slow, a little bit weak, a little too funny, and a little too flexible. And it made me a great yoga teacher. So I took to yoga very well. And for the first time in my life, I had lost all this weight. So I was at like 7-8% body fat. And when I moved to LA, everybody's like, will you teach me yoga? Will you teach me yoga? Because I was 6'3", 210 pounds and doing splits and handstands and all this stuff. So people started asking me to teach yoga. I'm like, yeah, sure. So before you knew it, I had kind of a celebrity clientele, and I'm teaching yoga, and I was teaching at a couple studios, packed classes, mat to mat. I got introduced to cannabis during that time because it was kind of the California cannabis legalization for medical and then recreational. I was working with some clients who had cancer, pediatric cancer, breast cancer, and we started to incorporate some cannabis into their evening process for pain reduction and help sleep and to mitigate anxiety. And then the whole time I was writing, I'm a novelist, and everybody thought I was crazy. I went to a very good school, and why aren't I doing something more professional, blah, blah, teaching yoga and writing on this book. And then it turns out the book sold in 4 days for over $1 million, a multi-book deal with a big publishing company called Random House. And it looked like I had made it. It was a multi-book deal. My wife and I, we had a first child. We went to Europe to research the next book. The first book was called Tomato Rhapsody, very different from what we're going to talk about now. It's comedic historical fiction. I think I have it behind me somewhere. It's comedic historical fiction about the forbidden romance that brings the tomato to Italy. 15th century romantic farce, kind of Shakespearean comedy and so forth. And between the purchasing of the manuscript and the release of the book, there was the 2008-2009 housing crisis, economic crisis. There was the publishing world crisis. The whole publishing world started to fall apart. The number 1, 2, and 3 at Bantam, the division of Random House that I was with, all got fired before the release of the book. And then on the very day that my novel was released, Michael Jackson died. So it was like the book never happened. So we had moved to a idyllic little mountain town to live this writerly lifestyle. We had to leave that town. I came back to Los Angeles. I lost weight again. I started teaching yoga. 3-year-old child at the time seemed to be a very talented soccer player. In fact, he just got back from Germany where he was trying out with some Bundesliga clubs, and he's going to go back again in March with the FIFA window and try out again. So he seemed to be a very talented young footballer, European footballer, okay? And I had started a soccer not-for-profit, and we had a coach living with us, and we were in the backside of Malibu is an area called Calabasas. It's where the Kardashians live and so forth. We were living in that area. And one of the dads from this football club was like, hey, I like the way you operate. You got this whole soccer not-for-profit. You've got all these like celebrity families and these kids and this coach from Europe. What are you doing? I'm like, well, he says, come to this meeting with me. He introduces me to the California cannabis industry, which was really, I wasn't a big cannabis guy. Like I might smoke a joint like 3 or 4 times a year with some friends, but I never was a big heavy cannabis user. I always appreciated it. I would use it with my clients, especially ones who were struggling with, some PTSD, trauma, cancer, and so forth. It was very therapeutic for them. But I was never a big user myself. The interesting thing, I needed to change my life and get, I had a wife and one child and another one on the way. I had to get some more money coming in. So I took the meeting with him, introduced him to the California cannabis industry, and literally like the bar at that time was so low in terms of like stoners and scumbags and, people who didn't have a professional business demeanor and weren't responsible and respectful, that people started throwing business at me. I got hired to do business development for a company that was coming into the space in the legal market. I started to meet all these people. One day somebody says to me, "Hey, can you get me this product?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I met somebody who makes that product." And I started brokering. And at that time, there was a great spread in brokering. I mean, no matter what you did, you could make $100 to, $1,000 depending on the product that you were brokering back and forth. It was great. So I started making money. And then literally, the bar was so low that people started to throw business at me. So within 2.5 years, I had a multi-million-dollar distribution company going up and down the state. It was crazy. I had Sprinter vans, retired PD, a whole security. PD is police department. I hired sheriffs and retired police officers. I had a security team, and we would literally take 2 Sprinter vans, $750,000 to $1.5 million. We would drive up the coast. We'd visit one of the 100 farms that we had on our Rolodex, and we would bring anywhere from 750 to 3,000 pounds of cannabis and cannabis material to be made into oil and other products down to Los Angeles. We would sell those products, and then I'd go back up and do it again. And it did sensationally well. But the whole time I was in the cannabis space, I was never, like I said, a big cannabis guy. I was very curious. I had a psychedelic experience as a 19-year-old that changed my life. And I had been listening to a lot of podcasts, traveling back and forth. And I heard one early podcast with Joe Rogan and Paul Stamets. Paul Stamets is one of the leading mushroom experts in the world, if not like the leading mushroom expert in the world. And I started to get very interested in psychedelics again as a supplement, as a microdose. So I knew some guys in Humboldt, California who also grew some mushrooms. They got me some mushrooms. I wasn't super impressed with the microdosing, but I thought, hey, there might be something here. And then the area of California that I was living in, there was a dad in my community, and we would meet in the sauna, and we would have, our kids were friends, and we would talk in the sauna. It turns out he's a European guy. He came from 4 centuries of mushroom growers. He knew about growing mushrooms and foraging mushrooms and psychedelic mushrooms. And I was so cash positive at the time that I said to him, hey, if I fund you out, would you want to put up a little mushroom grow? And let's see if we could push this idea of microdosing as supplementation, psychedelics as supplement, the ultimate form of supplementation. He said, yeah. And literally he took to it like his ancestors were channeling through him. And within 6 months, he might be one of the best mushroom growers in the country. I mean, the guy was extraordinary. He's bringing over genetics from Europe, and we're creating our own strains. And we really, we started then combining with different ingredients to create these synergistic blends for how your head operates, how your heart feels, athletic formulations. And we're like, we're really onto something. This was quite extraordinary. So that was really the genesis of Brain Supreme. It was an outgrowth of meeting a dad in my community and a couple podcasts that I had listened to while traveling back and forth in the California cannabis industry. And once we started to develop the products, we realized there's something to this. Like, this is middle-age magic.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's so amazing how life leads you towards what you do, towards the path of what you should be doing, or what one ends up enjoying to do, or one's purpose in life, basically. And that's why I also like to speak with you, because this topic is very new to me, and it's something I really love to learn about. So can you, enlighten us about functional or psychedelic mushrooms? And I would like to know the magic behind them. What's the magic behind psychedelic mushrooms?
So just so your listeners know, the company is called Brain Supreme. The website is brainsupreme.co. I have a free microdose coaching course on the website. So anything we touch upon here, they could probably learn in more depth with 8 short videos. I think it's about 25 minutes in all the program. So we go through the coaching course. So, okay. Psilocybin is the active ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms. When psilocybin is taken at the macro level, okay, which is basically 3,500 milligrams and above, that's the traditional heroic dose, psychedelic dose, therapeutic dose, different terms for it. That gives you more profound, longer, deeper spiritual and personal insights. The metaphor is that the proverbial darkness gets lifted and the lights get flipped on in the room. And after the experience, the lights get turned back off, but the pattern of the darkness is never the same. You're not going to walk into the furniture anymore. You understand the pattern of the room. It gives you a little view into the mystical. When you microdose, whether you've had a macrodose experience or not, microdosing is at the sub 10% level of the macrodose. So if a macrodose is call it 4,000 milligrams. A microdose is between 1 to 400 milligrams, okay? And what the microdose does is it just turns on certain aspects of your brain that just walk you towards that light. This can be done in conjunction with a macro experience or independent of a macro experience. In its essence, just removing all the science and the ACE2 receptors and all the other stuff that no one's going to remember, psychedelic mushrooms at the microdosing level move your brain in a happier and healthier direction, whether you're cognizant of that or not. And that's essentially what microdosing is. Microdosing is kind of an expensive supplement that you notice, that you feel a little bit better on, you feel a little bit happier on, you sleep a little better at night, your libido gets an uptick, you're a little more attracted to your spouse, the reps at the gym are more enjoyable. I like to manage expectations with it. It's a slightly expensive supplement that you should notice the benefits of. That's essentially what microdosing is. But what's really happening in your brain is there's a few processes. There's neuroregeneration, which is areas of the brain that have been injured or damaged or turned off because of trauma, physical trauma, psychological trauma, emotional trauma that have kind of dimmed. And then there's neurogenesis, which are new areas of the brain. Psilocybin fires those areas of the brain. It fires new neural pathways that are going to make you neurogenesis, that are going to make you happier and healthier, a little more playful, passionate, whatever it may be. And then it regenerates old and dormant or damaged areas of the brain that I believe move you back to the point of pre-trauma and back to the point of pre-injury. So if you were 10 years old and a traumatic divorce, separation, injury, something happened in your life, my personal feeling is the psilocybin reactivates the neural pathways and redirects the neural pathways of before that trauma. So if you were meant to be person A, happy, enjoyable, loving, at 9 years and 10 months, and then something happened at 10 years old that moved you to become person B, the psilocybin just starts, bends you back to person A. Gets you a little healthier, a little happier. Now, the results of microdosing can be kind of varied. I like to, what I've noticed is that psilocybin magic mushrooms meet you at the level of your need. If you're really experienced serious trauma, I have clients and customers with PTSD, major military action. Psilocybin meets you at the level of your needs. So you have my clients who experience serious trauma, they'll often report a 50, 60, 70% improvement in their emotional well-being. They stop having PTSD to the same level. They stop having suicide ideation, night terrors, and so forth. And then there are guys probably maybe more, I don't know your life story all that well, but maybe guys more like me or like you, we've had some bumps along the way, nothing major breaking, you know what I'm saying, emotionally or psychologically breaking. And those types of clients and customers tend to get the 5 to 20% bump in their life, a little more energy, a little more focus, a little more creativity, a little more inspiration in their lives, ability to compartmentalize and manage stress. So the results kind of vary depending on what your level of need is. They also vary with the health of your body and the amount of pharmaceutical products that are in your system. If you're taking a lot of pharmaceutical drugs and antibiotics that compromise your gut biome, the health of your belly and your probiotics in your gut and so forth, that can often mitigate the effectiveness of a psychedelic. And then also if you're on an antidepressant, an SSRI, an SNRI antidepressant, it can close the receptors off in the brain that receive the psilocybin. Outside of that, out of 100 customers, we've got a 97% oh, I noticed this. I might not continue to buy the supplement because, I don't need it that much. It's kind of expensive. It can be one of these relationships on how much they need it. But we're at 97% of our customer base really notices it. They're like, yeah, this is it's as advertised. It's a slightly expensive supplement that works. I feel a little bit better, or I feel a lot a bit better.
Yeah. So it's very effective. It works. It does its work. Basically.
I mean, there's always outliers. I always like to manage expectations. I like to manage the expectations. And I also like to let people know that there's a sense of personal responsibility that goes along with this. It's not a silver bullet. For some people, there's a tremendous honeymoon effect when they first start taking a microdosing product, whether it's mine or somebody else's. But if you're not exercising, if you're not praying, not meditating, not eating well, it's not going to work great. It might do a little something. But if you're going for it in your life and you're exercising and you're eating well and you're trying to sleep well and you're trying to, keep yourself properly hydrated and so forth, it can really put the wind in your sails. I get some customers who are like, oh, I took 2 capsules and it didn't work. And I call them up because I'm a small enough company where I'm like, hey, what's your feedback? I'll give you some coaching. What's going on? What are you doing? They're like, well, nothing really. I eat fast food a couple times a week and I get, I go to bed at 1 a.m. I wake up at 7 a.m. I immediately start doom scrolling on my phone to look at things that piss me off and it's not working. I'm like, well, what would work? I mean, Jesus could come down and tap you on the head and that might not work. Like, you got to give some effort. I'm like, look, let's do this. I don't want to say, let's not even take on the whole world. Here's what I want. Here's what I want you to do. At 10 p.m., I want you to put your phone down and I want you to try to be sleeping by 10:30 or 11 p.m. And when you wake up in the morning, I just want you to put your shoes on and go for a walk and try to breathe deep. Don't grab your phone. And then take your microdose, glass of lemon water, 2 capsules, get your sneakers on, go for a walk, breathe deep, just 10 minutes and call me in a week. And they'll call me in a week. They're like, wow, I'm feeling so much better. I'm like, yeah. I mean, you're doing a couple steps. It's not necessarily just the supplement helps, but like you're taking some personal responsibility for your health and your well-being. And those clients who engage with Brain Supreme in that way tend to have pretty profound and noticeable effects.
Oh, yeah. I love that so much. I love that so much. One more time, the link to your website is Brain
Supreme.co. And we ship internationally. We'll have a nice discount code for a 15% discount code for your listeners. Just Mirror Talk, capital, lowercase, one word, Mirror Talk.
Yeah.
We have no problem shipping internationally. We keep our packaging and our labeling. The secret ingredient is read as Brain Supreme proprietary mushroom blend. So everybody understands. But we have, we've sold, as per this conversation, we've sold over 8,000 units. So, we're doing well. Been on a bunch of podcasts, and that really helps a lot. Programs like yours are a really wonderful gift for getting the word out there. We use FedEx to ship internationally. It goes terrifically well. We list the ingredients, we pay the tariffs, and everything works. We have clients in Denmark, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, the United Kingdom, and quite a few in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm going to place a link to your website in the show notes of this episode. So anyone who's already curious and wants to get on the website to start learning more could just click on the link already and maybe start getting the products already.
Great.
There's something that you mentioned that I really love so much is that it's not like a magic supplement that you just take it and it fixes all your problems, but you have to be responsible also for yourself. Like, cultivate the right habits, go to bed on time, and, work on eating well and your hygiene also, so that it could boost, your brain rewiring and it boosts your wellness altogether also. It's not like, take this tablet and you don't have to do anything and everything will be fixed for you, by taking the dose.
Okay, here's the thing. Most people, when they first start taking a microdosing supplement, they do feel a little bit of the wind in their sails to do the right thing. Like it's a little bit easier to get off the couch and go to the gym. It's does move the brain in a beneficial direction, but you still have to engage your will and grace, and you still have to push into that direction. You've got to allow for the momentum. But one of the interesting things about psilocybin is that it does kind of naturally put some momentum into you. It has this, they can't quite quantify it yet, and I don't even care if the scientists figured out how to quantify it yet, but it just moves the brain in a beneficial direction, whether you're aware of it or not. And if you make that agreement that I'm going to lean into that, then all the better. Then your life really can start to transform, which we happen all the time. We've got client success stories, hundreds of them now. So it will give you some initial momentum, but you can't expect it to do everything for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It can't do everything for you. And does the product come with a guide, for example, on how to use it? Maybe it's packed in capsules or in tablets, and then okay, a microdose is maybe 2 tablets or 1 tablet in the morning.
So let me go. So it comes in 60 capsule packets. We have 4 formulations. We have Genius, which is our most nootropic formulation. Nootropics are the category of nutrients and supplements for neurocognition and brain performance. We have our Feel Good, which is designed kind of for the heart a little bit. The heart I'm so sorry. I turned my ringer off and everything, but I can't block the phone calls coming in. So,
I
so we have Feel Good, and Feel Good is our formulation that's designed for the heart, the mood, and the libido. Then we have Athlete, and Athlete is our where we formulate 100 milligrams of our secret ingredient with natural testosterone boosters and supplements that help with recovery and cardiovascular performance. And then we have our extra strength formulation, which is Black Stack, and Black Stack has a 250 milligrams of the secret ingredient. And then we combine that with nano curcumin, ginger, and a vitamin C, high quality vitamin C to help with absorption and so forth. So those are our array of products. And the thing with microdosing, I have in my coaching course, I have kind of the 3 tenets, which is first is demystify, get familiar with it. Any stigmas or misunderstandings you might have, just walk in real slowly, just limp in. There is never in recorded history, and there's quite a bit of scientific research in this. There are no counterindications with any pharmaceutical product in the world. The average Tylenol or ibuprofen that one of your listeners takes has a X greater risk factor than a microdose of psilocybin. The only thing with psilocybin is it might not be effective and you might not get the ultimate value for your money. It doesn't counteract with any prescription at all, okay? Any medication, any food, anything at all. Better taken on an empty stomach, better taken first thing in the morning. I'll go into a couple things that we do notice. So a microdose is between 100 to 400 milligrams of psilocybin. It's best done in the morning, best done on an empty stomach, and best done with water with lemon because the vitamin C helps the conversion of psilocybin, the magic mushroom that you eat, to psilocin, which is the chemical that the brain absorbs. Of course, if the gut biome is healthier and your stomach is healthier, that conversion process is going to be facilitated and all the better and be more effective. So psilocybin can actually help indicate where you have some deficiencies. Because if my products aren't working for you, and I don't mean to be arrogant, it's not my products, it's you. And it's your digestion or it's some complication that you're having. And I can guarantee you that if you clean your lifestyle up, my product or somebody else's product is going to be effective for you. Because it's just, the saying is past is prologue. You know, if it's happened 100 times exactly like this, you're not the person that's going to defy it on the 101st time. This is the way it works. If your system is toxic, if you have neurological contamination, body contamination, compromised gut biome, pharmaceutical products, antidepressants, psilocybin might not be as effective for you. You clean some of that stuff out of your system, psilocybin will be effective for you. So what I like to recommend is let's just demystify the process. We recommend, so the first is demystify and then it's familiarize. So you want to familiarize yourself with how microdosing works. We always recommend what we call the supplement protocol to start. The supplement protocol is 5 days on and then 2 days off. First thing in the morning, empty stomach, water with lemon juice. Start with just 1 capsule, okay? And just for days 1 and 2, maybe even day 3, just see how 1 capsule works for you. If 1 capsule gives you a little bump, great. 60 capsules is going to go longer. It's going to be more cost effective. Great. Most people, they're going to move by days 4 and 5 to 2 capsules. And really what you're going for is to how to identify your sweet spot. Now, your sweet spot is perceptible, non-intoxicating, non-hallucinatory. You want to perceive some uptick in your neurological performance, your patience, your joy, your compassion, something. I slept better. The chatter in my head when I went to bed at night was a little less. You do want to perceive some benefit. And once you find that sweet spot, that's your dosing level. The average is 2 capsules or 200 milligrams. A lot of clients, myself included, like to scale during the course of the week. So I will take if I'm doing the supplement protocol, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will take 2 capsules, which is 200 milligrams of the active ingredient. On Thursday and Friday, I'll take 3 capsules. So I'll scale up over the course of the week, and then I'll take the weekend off. Okay. That's the classic supplement protocol. That's what I like everybody to start with. Do that for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And then you'll kind of understand how to work with these products, mine or somebody else's. You know, I want to feel it a little more. I have a protocol called performance dosing. This is currently what I do because I'm very into health and fitness and exercise. And I have a lot of athletes, amateur athletes and professional athletes. And what the performance dose is, it's a slightly higher microdose, often 300, 400, 500 milligrams. The classic performance dose with Brain Supreme is you'll take 2 Genius and 2 Athletes 45 minutes before your game practice, or training session. And so the idea is that it's perceptible. You're still totally under control. It's perceptible, but it pushes you into flow states. So, that predictive, like what they would always talk about with Michael Jordan, or the great soccer players, that they become predictive, or the great martial artists, that you're interpretive, you're flowing, that your thought, action, body are all moving with a sense of harmony. It has this ability to kind of kick you into flow state. You can't abuse this. It's twice a week. So performance dosing, for me, just as an exercise guy, it's 45 minutes in the morning before I hit the gym. It's 2 Genius and 2 Athlete, either coffee with fat, like we have on the website a Brain Supreme coffee recipe, which is a modified bulletproof. Bulletproof coffees are the coffee where you add heavy cream, a little butter, coconut oil, and then we add a whole array of nutrients, functional mushrooms, high quality cinnamon, creatine. You could do some raw honey. We have the whole recipe. So I do microdosing. I've discovered is very effective with coffee with fat. It really fuels the brain. You get the caffeine, you get the fat, you get the microdose, and you're ready to go. So with the performance dose, I will take 2 Genius and 2 Athlete 45 before I hit the gym on my 2 hardest workout days, whether that's Monday and Thursday or Wednesday and Saturday, something like that. For my athletes, if their game's on Saturday, it's a Wednesday practice and a Saturday game day to kick into that flow state. And for a lot of people who want to feel things a little bit, that's you still get the benefits of microdosing. So after you kind of burn off the intensity of the slightly higher microdose with your workout or with your game, and then the benefits of the microdose linger throughout the day. They linger through the next 2 days, and then you do it again on Saturday or whatever day it is. But this is a really nice protocol. So that's part of the familiarization. So I was supplement microdosing for so long, and then I developed this other protocol that we call performance dosing. And then the third category is peak day dosing. Say, you know what? I did 2 months of microdosing. It helped me solve this issue. I'm feeling much better. It's expensive. Maybe I don't need to do it all the time. I'm just going to do it every other week or once a week. We have a big meeting on Friday. Friday's my hardest workout. And then we have a whole big team conference. I want to peak for that day. I'm just going to use it once a week or once a month, peak day dosing. So we've got supplement dosing, performance dosing, and peak day dosing. And that's really the 3 ways that you can use microdosing.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing that. I have a follow-up question to that. And that's basically out of curiosity. If a customer, for example, decides not to use it anymore, not to microdose anymore, will the person still hold on to the benefit that the person has gained from, microdosing, from using the product? If 6 months down the line, not using the product anymore, will I still be able to perform at my peak performance, even if I, still have the same habits, like, I'm living an healthy lifestyle, I'm doing everything as I used to do, but without the product?
So great question. And the answer to your question is fundamentally yes. So the fascinating thing about psychedelics as a category in general, and magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms specifically, is they're non-addictive and they're anti-addictive. They literally cure you of other addictions. They will also, there's a certain wisdom I've found after all these years of working with these mushrooms, that they'll let you know when you're ready to stop taking it. So the answer to your question is hey, I started microdosing because I was really working on this one issue in my life. I wanted to solve this one issue. I felt that it really helped me. I've solved that and I'm going to stop for a while. Yeah, go ahead and stop. The mushrooms are going to agree with that. And the mushrooms will tell you, hey, maybe you're ready to start back up again a year later, 6 months later, whatever it may be. You'll develop an intuitive relationship with these products where they'll let you know when you're ready to take a break or when you're ready to kind of come back to it. And as long as you keep the habits up in your life that the mushrooms help move you in that direction, the benefits will stay with you, So if you're like, okay, look, I'm 42 years old. I've stopped working out. I know I've got to work out. I'm going to create a whole protocol of 4 workouts a week. I'm going to microdose 5 days a week, and I'm going to do these 2 hand in hand with better eating and the workouts and the microdosing. So the microdosing helps put the wind in your sails, and you form those new habits. You're eating better, and you're going to exercise 4 times a week. You do 2 months of microdosing. Maybe you can stop. Yeah. I mean, it all depends. But are you going to be consistent? Are you going to keep up with the other good stuff? So yes, the answer is it's not like a pharmaceutical drug that when you stop taking it, you go right back to the the old behavior or the old habits.
Yeah.
That patterning in the brain can become permanently wired in there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I mean, when one invests into such products, one expects to have like a lifelong or long-lasting effect from it also. Yeah.
Yeah, and that very much can be, the ultimate effect. Yeah, it can really help people change their lives and create permanent change.
Yeah. And talking about changes and effects, are there like some downsides or some side effects of using mushroom products or psychedelic mushrooms? Like, I know you could get more joyful, but can get into a very high state that, you start misbehaving or there are different kinds of stories that one hears from, using not psychedelic mushrooms, but, other substances that helps to elevate you.
Well, we can stay within, let's stay within the realm of psychedelics when we answer this question. So, okay, let's start with the macro dose, the 5,000 milligram, the 5-gram dose. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're dosing at that level, it changed my life. I did one experience like that when I was 19 that permanently changed my life, the way I view life, the way I view God, the universe, spirituality. It opened up a whole sense of possibility that permanently changed my life. Now, that type of journey needs to be handled very responsibly, okay? You have to be honest with yourself. Are you 20 years old and you don't have that much issues, that much damage, you've got a couple bumps, but like you weren't, there's no major trauma in your life. You could possibly do it on your own, but you want to be very responsible with the set and the setting. Where are you doing it? What time are you doing it? Who got you the product? What's the environment? Do you think you're going to take a big dose like that and walk into a rave in Ibiza? Like, it could go really sideways. It could be really wrong. If it's music that has like a little bit of demonic beats to it or sensibility, like it could go really wrong. So when you're going with the macro dose, you want to be really honest with yourself and deal with these products with a seriousness and a sacredness. This is ritual. These were historically done in ritualized environments with a great deal of preparation beforehand, and you should really take that take that to heart and with great seriousness, okay? At the microdosing level, there's really no side effects. It just might not be effective for you. There's two things that can happen that I've noticed. Psilocybin at the microdosing level often will indicate certain things for you as to where your health and your well-being is. If I have 100 customers, 1.5 out of 100, 1.5% might get sleepy on their first 3 days of microdosing. Now, here's how to solve that. Out of 100 times that I've consulted on this, I've never not been correct. I'm right 100% of the time on this. If you get sleepy in the first 2 hours after your microdose, it's usually a sign of two things. One, you're genuinely fatigued, so you might just want to give in and go take a nap. The other is there's a little neurological toxicity, a little brain toxicity, and you need to drink more water with higher quality water. You need to add some electrolytes to your water, some good quality salts, and not like Gatorade crap, but the higher quality sports electrolytes and minerals. And then at nighttime, you should take some magnesium before bed. If you hydrate properly and you mineralize properly, every time that sleepiness that is attributed to microdosing goes away. And people tend to feel much better.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is the gut health. If you're microdosing, and I don't mean to be arrogant with this statement at all, but if you are microdosing with my product and you're not noticing at all, I can guarantee you that you're either on an SSRI, an antidepressant, and in 50% of the cases, if you're on an SNRI, antidepressant, it's going to block the psilocin receptors in the brain. Like literally the receptors that absorb psilocybin, the magic part, get blocked. Or you have a compromised gut biome. Your stomach and your digestion isn't healthy. If you work on correcting the digestion, fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkrauts, things of that nature, probiotics, okay? You try to really reduce your intake of pharmaceutical products, because the one thing with pharmaceutical products almost consistently is they all tend to compromise your gut biome and your immune system. So if you take some immune boosters and you can take some probiotics and you can introduce some raw fermented foods into your diet, 100% of the time, you'll start to notice a product like mine. It might take a month, 2 months, or 6 months, but if you clean your biology up, you will notice the benefits of psilocybin. So that's one of the other side effects, or when it's not as effective. And the third that I've discovered along the way, is that heavy cannabis use and psilocybin done together at the same time, even at the microdosing level, is not a good combination. Now, if you struggle physically, emotionally, or emotionally, cannabis can be very effective medicine for reducing kind of anxiety, PTSD, helping you sleep at night. But cannabis is what I call disassociative. Like, it brings you inward. It can get you a little bit in your head. It can get you a little bit self-conscious. Psilocybin is associative. You want to engage more in the world. You want to engage more in your life with friends and family and the things that you're going for in your life. So to do both at the same time, one is turning you off, the other is turning you on. So I don't think they're effectively done at the same time. I like, for especially people with trauma and with pain and physical pain, if you microdose in the morning and then you use cannabis in the evening, that's a very effective combination, either recreationally, medically, therapeutically, a very, very effective combination. Doing both at the same time is, I think, a counterindication, especially if you're dabbing, if you're working with waxes and shatters and crumbles, the oil products with cannabis. I don't think they're done well at the same time. But really, outside of that, there's no real side effects, anything like that. Sometimes people get an upset stomach with mushrooms. That's because there can be a little bacteria in the mushroom from the grow medium. It's literally never happened with our products. Like, I have 8,000 total sales. They've never had a complaint of a stomach ache.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Adam, I've learned so much from you, from speaking, about your products, about psychedelic mushrooms, and I believe everyone out there has also learned a lot. And one more time, the link to your website will be in the show notes of this episode for anyone who is interested, to get the product or to reach out to you. But if there are some other people out there who would like to maybe ask some more questions that we could not touch or talk about, or maybe even work much more closer with you, is there like a different way to reach out to you apart from your website? Is there a way to contact you?
So the website's the best way. So the first, I would say download the coaching course. It's free, literally. It's like, and it's not like some clickbait where we're going to torment you. And, you give us your email address, the message comes through to me. I hit yes, send. We send you the coaching course. It's videos too. You don't even have to read anything. You watch 8 videos. You'll learn a tremendous amount about microdosing. So that's one. The email link on the website is the best way to get back to me. And I know we have a European time difference, but I respond to emails almost instantaneously. I have a little tag at the bottom of my email that I use voice to text or voice to email, so I can respond very quickly. Just, you got to roll with me. It's great customer service, but there might be a typo or punctuation or this or that, but everybody understands the basic answer that we're going for. So those are the best ways. Use the website and then download the coaching course.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate learning from you. And I hope everyone gets the product. And it was so wonderful speaking with you. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you so much. Great conversation. Bye, Tobi. Thank you.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought-provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones, and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.